Tonight, Belizeans at home and abroad, this is the Belizean Affairs Show number 153 for Monday, 10th of June of 2024. My name is Leonard Brackett. I'm one of the panelists on the show, and we also have currently with us Mr. Roody Wade, who's one of the other panelists, and we hope to have our next panelist, Mr. Gregory Brackett. But since the time is running, we just want to go ahead and launch the show. Mr. Gregory Brackett is supposed to be the chairman for tonight, and as soon as he's available, we'll turn the show over to him. But in the interim, we're going to mark time by going ahead and doing the prayer and the reading. I'll do the prayer, and then I'll turn the show over to Mr. Roody Wade for the reading. I'll just bow my head for a second. Divine loving Father, thou who art the creator of heaven and earth and all that in them are, into thy hands we commend ourselves, asking thee that thou must continue to guide and protect and bless us, grant us wisdom, knowledge and understanding, give us the virtues that will enable us to present a worthy program tonight on behalf of our people and country of Belize. Please bless our Belizeans at home and abroad. Please bless our leaders, and please bless our country of Belize. Please bless this country of the United States of America, its people and leadership. Please continue to bless those who have need of food and clothes and shelter, and the rest of humanity, especially those people who are in areas where there is wars, Gaza, Afghanistan, Ukraine, and the many other places in the Congo and Sudan and elsewhere. Please have mercy upon us all, Lord Father. The mercy of hearts, our desires, and the mercy to pass. We pray these mercies in Jesus' name. Amen. I'll yield up to you, Mr. Wade, for reading it now.
Thank you, Leonard.
Yes,
Um,
sir.
it's a pleasure again once more. Give God, the glory, thanks, and
Mm-hmm.
praise, for another day. And it's always a pleasure to sit in your company. And like you rightfully says, we will await our chairman for tonight, Mr. Gregory Brackett.
Yes, sir.
And Belizeans, both at home and abroad, welcome to our 153rd edition on this blessed Monday, 10th June 2024. Thanks for all your support and for those who view us, for those who comment, for those who support us. We thank them from the heart.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Leonard, I'll read from Matthew uh, 13, chapter 13, 30 to 40. Says, let both grow together until the harvest, and at harvest time I will tell the reapers, gather the weeds first and bend them in bundles to be
Amen.
burned, but gather the weeds into my barn. He put another parable before them, saying, the kingdom of heaven is like a garden. It's like a grain of mustard seed
Amen.
that a man took and sowed in his field. It is the smallest of all seeds, but when it is grown, it is larger than all the garden plants and becomes a tree.
Mm-hmm.
So that the birds of the air comes and make nests in its branches. He told them another parable. The kingdom of heaven is like leavens that a woman took and hid in 3 measures of flour till it was all leavened. As these things Jesus said to the crowd in parables, indeed, he said nothing to them without a parable. This was to fulfill what was what was spoken by the prophet. I will open my mouth in parables. I will utter what has been hidden since the foundation of the world.
Amen.
Then he left the crowd and went into the house, and his disciple came to him, saying, explain to us the parable of the weed of the field. He answered, the one who sows the good seed is the Son of Man. The field is the world, and the good seed is the sons of the kingdom. The weeds are like are the sons of the evil ones, and the enemy who showed them the devil. Sorry, the enemy who sowed them is the devil. The harvest is the end of the age, and the reapers are angels. Just as the weeds are gathered and burned in burned with fire, so will it be at the end of the age. That's my reading from Matthew 13, 30 to 40.
Thank you very much, Mr. Wade. Um, we'll just continue on to discuss a little bit more about um, the redivisioning and reapportionment, just so we can use up a little bit of extra time on the front end. So last week we had a discussion uh, on all 3 shows for the week, as well as I think we had done a show before that. So we probably had 4 or 5 shows discussing this matter, and hoping that somehow or another someone can impress on the Prime Minister, whether it be his colleagues, whether it be his friends in business who have influence with him, whether it be the opposition leader or opposition members, or whether it be just some of his former colleagues, the veteran PUP, or whoever and however it gets done. It's immaterial. I could care less how it gets done. I just wish that it could be done. That the Prime Minister of our country would yield to the laws of the country, the constitution of the country, and the requests and demands by some people in the country for him to do what he's collecting a salary to do, which is manage the country according to its laws and according to the mandates that he has been given to do the things that the Constitution requires of him and his government to do as the government of the country. And in particular, I want to focus on the election and boundaries division, their effort, and the effort of the House of Representatives. I know these gentlemen and ladies, they probably feel comfortable in the divisions that they are, and with their successes, which is why they are elected and are in the House as of right now. And they somehow may have the impression that the election and boundaries should serve their needs and their purpose. It should be about them and the guaranteeing of them being able to win seats or win elections and therefore wield the powers of governance. I think they fail in the first instance to recognize and realize that they're elected and they're in office by virtue of the rights of the people who went to the poll and elected them. They did so because most of the people did not realize that it was an unconstitutional election to start with, because the election was held under illegal status, while everybody pretended that everything was all right. You cannot have an election that is legal while at the same time is a breach of the Constitution, or it's being done not under the Constitution of the country. Because the Constitution of the country says that every man, woman, and anybody of age who can vote and is registered to vote should be able to cast their vote, and their vote should be equal as much as possible to the vote of any other person casting their vote in any other constituency. That is to say, it is illegal and untenable for the government to have some divisions like Fort George with 2,000 plus or minus electorates, whereas Belmopan and Stan Creek West and others are nearing 10,000. That is not equal representation. Another way to solve this problem would be that the subvention that each of these ministers get, because apparently not only the ministers, the area representative, by the way, is where I think we should leave focus this conversation. This is not about the ministers themselves. This is about the election and boundaries and the elections itself and the People's Representation Act. And I'll probably throw in there the Governor General, because it is the purview of the Governor General to see to it that these things are remedied. And even though it's in court right now, it had to end up in court because initially the request was being made to the Governor General to look into these matters, and we have gotten nowhere. The politicians still keep riding roughshod over the system. And if the Governor General wants to wield the power that is vested in her as the Governor General, she can have these matters looked into and addressed and redressed without her having to give any other writ of election and just dispense with the current elected officers when their term is up and appoint independent-minded people to fill those positions until the issue is resolved and the voters list is taken care of and the apportionment is done under somebody else's purview, because the present government and the former government, which are the two mass parties, have not seen it fit to fulfill their obligation and the mandate of the people. So I personally would say it's not because they can't do it, they just don't want to do it because nobody can make them do it. The Governor General has already issued the request to the elections and boundaries to go forward. The court has already pronounced on that matter. There can't be any elections held anymore under this bogus and illegal, unconstitutional process. They should be meeting the requirements of the Constitution. and they should be following good governance. We have had elections recently in a lot of different countries all around the world, and most of those elections have been held and the laws were abided by. And there are other elections coming up that the laws will be abided by. Why is it that we Belize, as small as we are, for we leaders them, they can't give us justice. They can't operate under the Constitution and respect the Constitution and abide by the rules and regulations therein. I'll just turn over to you, Mr. Wade, for a couple of comments of yours if you have something to say, sir.
Yes.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you, Leonard. Like you rightfully says there, my brother, that we have been talking about this for some time now, and we had the representative from the Mr. Paul Morgan from the also Mr. The other Mr.
De La Fuente?
Fuente from the
Mm-hmm.
Belize Peace Movement, to explain to the nation, as to what they had been doing in terms of the redistricting, and they explained as to how they got started and all through the courts and where they at as of we speak. Um, for me, Leonard, right? It's a shame to see how, and like you mentioned it also, to see how our leaders, past and present, just fail in doing right, in making equal. My people, is about the redistricting is about getting equal representation, because as it is right now, it's not equal. Plain and simple, it's not equal. But you'd hear different from the politicians, right? Which majority of them has small area to represent, and they're getting a lot of money. It's easy as that to represent these small portions. While the big areas, 3 times the size of some of these very powerful representative from Belize City especially, have the smallest little constituents, and they get a hell of a lot of taxpayers' money for their constituents, while the bigger constituents get the same amount of the ones that are getting that has this small amount of people to represent. So it's not equal. And then the Constitution of Belize, not the Constitution of Guatemala or Salvador or Nicaragua or Honduras. No, the Constitution of Belize says that not we shall or may, no, we should have equal representation. And that what they do, they play with that equal, right? Some of them have imaginary numbers in their head that what should be equal, because to suit them. So equal does not residue. For instance, Mesopotamia,
Mm-hmm.
equal does not residue in the past and present area representative for Mesopotamia or for Judge,
Mm-hmm.
the Musa brothers,
Mm-hmm.
right? They have, man, small areas to represent, but yet I don't have to elaborate. And these are powerful people, man. They make a hell of a lot of major decision in for us on behalf of Belize, while they only have a couple of hundred people. Does that make any sense? When other area representatives have thousands and they're not even a minister. They are backbenchers,
Mm-hmm.
right? I'm just enlightening the Belizean people for those who do not know or for those who do know and don't even care, right?
Mm-hmm.
But on our show, we need to educate the people and the ones that need it, and we are not afraid to do so. So,
Uh, Mr. Wade, Mr. Wade, on that point about us educating the people, can I ask? I don't know, I don't think it's irrelevant, but I just want to ask it quick so I don't take up too much of your time. Where is the constitutional committee educating the people? Where is our education? We are paying for it and we are not getting it. Thank you very much, sir. I just wanted to emphasize that since you touched on it.
so true on that. In my umpteen years through the PUDP system, those individual past and present who we had elected to protect and serve us are afraid when Belizeans are educated. They
Mm-hmm.
are afraid, okay? Their mindset on us is to keep us dumb, fool, uneducated, and in poverty.
Mm-hmm.
Because when they do that, that makes them powerful. Because you got to run to them for every little thing. You got to run and beg. And they love that. Okay? They get a high on that for the ones that doesn't smoke weed or take any other drugs. They get a high on that. And they feel like they are kings and queens, God and goddess. Okay? And who make them feel that way? We the people, right? We the voters, and pretty soon our culture, the black culture, the East Indian culture, the Garifuna culture, they will give a hoot if you vote for them or vote for them not. Because yes, the other day,
They're making up
you know
the.
the amount of thousands that they gave amnesty to. And while they were giving it to them, they told them, you got to vote for the blue for PUP because we are the one that are doing it for you now. We are the one that's going to make you have a passport. We are the one that brings you in this country and tolerate you and give you all your goodies. So you have to vote for. So I say this to say that they will not pretty soon then okay if the regular black man vote for them or the East Indian man or the Garifuna man. Give a hoot, okay? Because it's sliding towards that direction. And it's a damn shame that you take an entity like the Belize Peace Movement to speak for this country and tell now the PUP, no, they had told the UDP, and now they're telling the PUP that hell, man, let's do with districting. When it's their job, when it's their duty, due diligence to do it, why on earth are these politicians so afraid to do redistricting? My take on that, they do not want to give up the little constituency they have. They'll gerrymander and do every damn thing within their power to keep their little constituency going. So they can have the power, so people can look for them and call them God and boss. And Mr. Minister, because they like the name, man, Leonard. Mr. Minister. Okay?
Honor, honorable dishonorables.
Honorable, dishonorable. They could give a hoot about the dishonorable. All they want to know that they in that vehicle and it says minister.
Mhm.
The people's vehicle and they got a driver could direct them to airfield and then they
Gas,
feel like they are
and a
God
fuel book,
and a few other book.
and all
My people
maintenance
don't
and
hear about
repairs.
this in other station, in other media houses. They hear it here because this is it. We give it to you. As to where they go on in this country, man. So, like again, I say, it's so sad that it had taken the Belize peace movement, who know they get the taxpayers' dollars, who know elect, who know got the power, who know got the authority, who never gave them that authority to do that. Now they use the taxpayers' money.
Mhm.
But it's a damn shame to see how this government now is using the taxpayers' money to do harm to us
Mhm.
in terms of don't want to do the redistricting, which is their mandate. It's supposed to have done 15 years ago. See? But these guys are so afraid. So afraid. Just like how they're afraid to pass the law that yes, my brothers from the diaspora could come and participate in the parliament, right? That's the same way they're afraid to do the redistricting. But yet, while I'm on that, they go with their hands out to diaspora and beg to every time, every government go and beg the diaspora for hands out, for help. Not to mention, they can beg them for support them for the constitution reform. Although they know damn well that these diaspora come and vote, and they don't get in that opportunity if it comes to that point. That's to show you how evil and conniving these people are, right?
100% correct, sir.
You understand what I'm saying? So who see these things? Who talk about it, man? I invite all the media houses in a Belize. And so call CNN, Leonard, and MSNBC, you know, blow this out to the world to see the kind of jackals and the failures that they have done in this country and the evil that they have done and continue to do in this country and try to portray to the world that they are good leaders. Portray to the world that they are good leaders when they in fact they are not. Things they do to their people, right? The things they do to their country, the things that they are doing now to their people and country. So, I call on them, Leonard, to do redistricting before the next general election. But they will come with some hullabaloo that hey, too close and we can't do it now. But give the next 5 years, and as we get the word 100, the first 100 days, man, we'll do it. Right? That's what that man will come in the house and say very soon. And we are always 98% right when we say these things. Right? Right? So we call on them. Do the redistricting before the next general election. Your mic is off, Leonard. Go ahead. Your mic is off.
Thank you very
Yeah.
much, sir.
No, yeah.
Yeah. Um, the Prime Minister came out and said in his own words that he not think that there's enough time left to get that done before the next election. When the tough could
See?
have been done
You
before the
see?
by-election right now.
You see?
because they have all the documents available to get the work done. They have all the updated election list them for all the different villages, all the different polling areas, and all the polling boxes. And all it takes is somebody who understands mapping and understands so demographics and so basic arithmetics to put the thing together. You not take one genius or no specialized experts. I made proposals to them how to get it done. I went at Mr. My office on various occasions for different elections and provide them electronic means of being able to do those kind of calculations. I show them my computer system that I use to predict the elections ahead of time. How can I tell how many people will get registered months and years ahead of time? How can I tell how much people will vote for any one particular individuals in any one particular divisions? I avail myself of the knowledge and the equipment to be able to afford me that privilege. So they can do the same thing too. They're a government. They got deep pocket. And like I said, what it takes to get this thing done is not no lot of money and no lot of time. All it takes is goodwill. Because
That's
I
all
could sit
it
down right
takes.
here where I am right now and do it for them. But I don't have no authority to do that. I have the capability to do it, but not the authority. They just don't want to have it done by nobody, including themselves. Like I said, they like it just the way it is. And so they want to bamboozle their way through the process, kill the front end time. And when time really run out for shooting, they say, well, see, we may tell you that time you run out. Then run the time out. But just want to read on a little thing here quickly, Mr. Wade, if you allow me to.
Yes, yes.
On the same topic, no? But I want to read it from the Constitution. It's a constitutional matter. I want to read the Constitution of Belize, Cap 4, Section 89, subsection 1 and 2. And I want to read Section 90, subsection 1, 2, and 3. And thereafter, well, I don't want to read, I don't know if I want to read subsection 4 as well. But I want to read a part of Section 91 and a little part of 92. So that's a lot of reading. So let me get moving and trying to speed up. I hope I don't know if the chairman going to show up before then. If he not show up, and just continue the reading, no, because it's stuff that's joined together, and I want to state it the way it's stated in the Constitution. Let the Constitution speak for itself. So, Section 89, subsection 1 reads as follows: the purposes of the election of members of the House of Representatives, Belize shall be divided into 31 electoral divisions, the names and boundaries of which are set out in Schedule 1 to the Representation of the People's Act, Cap 9. Subsection 2 reads as follows: each electoral division shall be represented in the House of Representatives by one elected member. Section 90, subsection 1 reads as follows: the Elections and Boundaries Commission shall, after considering the electoral distribution of the population throughout Belize, they shall make proposals from time to time for the dividing of Belize into electoral divisions in such a way that, paragraph A states, each electoral division shall have as nearly as may be an equal number of persons eligible to vote. In other words, everybody's vote must count as close as possible, 1 to 1, not 1 to 5 or 5 to 1. Paragraph B of section 90 subsection 1 reads as follows. The total number of electoral divisions shall be no less than 28, which was the last number we had before it was changed to 31, which is currently what we have, 31. So they can reduce it back to 28 if need be. Of course, if they raise it more than 31, it can cost more because you have more members of the House who will have to get stipends and salaries and everything else that everybody else get. Subsection 2 of section 90 reads as follows. In fixing the boundaries of electoral divisions, the Commission shall have regards to the transport and other facilities of the division and to its physical features. Subsection 3 reads as follows. The proposal of the Commission made pursuant to this section shall be laid before the National Assembly by the chairperson of the Commission, and the electoral division specified in those proposals shall be the electoral division of Belize for the purpose of any law for the time being in force relating to the election of members of the House of Representatives, when and shall not be such electoral divisions until enacted as law by the National Assembly, which is what right now they're sitting down on the effort that the Election and Boundaries Division did. The House is sitting down on that matter and not passing it or discussing it, much less pass it. So the Election and Boundaries Division did a shady job, first and foremost, because they didn't do what was required of them to do. They just did something to say, well, they did something, and that, well, that's what they are supposed to do. When in fact they knew damn well that it wasn't what was required of them. But they're playing hanky-panky with the politicians, which shouldn't be going on in the first place. Because that division, that electoral Election and Boundaries Division is under the purview and control, or should be under the purview and control of the Governor General, who appoints the 5-member board, the commission. And they are accountable to making sure that when he issues a writ of election, that board have in place the means of facilitating that election to come about. I'll read another part here. It says, subsection 4. I'll go ahead and read subsection 4. When the Elections and Boundaries Commission considers it necessary to increase the numbers of electoral division as specified in subsection 1 above of this section, it shall make proposals to the National Assembly, which is what I just described earlier. They did make the proposal, but they did not do the redivisioning and or the reapportionment as is required by law, which is to say, according to section 90, section 91, A, almost as equal as possible a reapportionment. And it's not almost as equal as possible when you have Fort George with a couple thousand and St. Creek West or Belmopan, like I said, with 10,000. That's not doing their job. So the Election and Boundaries Commission cannot be putting that stuff to the House and telling them, oh, well, we did our job or we finished our job. Because that is to say, the members of the House are aware that they didn't do their job. So they said the stuff can't fly. So then sit down on it. Instead of them doing their job, which is to discuss the thing, and among them as a majority, vote for Senate back so that the Election and Boundaries can do the appropriate reapportionment, and if necessary, redivisioning. So the House is sitting down saying that the Election and Boundaries isn't doing their job. the election and boundaries is saying, well, they did their job, and everybody is making the rest of the time roll on. And these people, local citizens, have to be taking money out of their pocket, to go hire lawyers, to go fight the government, to make the government officials and do their job. That's untenable. That's a travesty. It's actually crazy. Okay? But anyhow, I'll just read the next part of this thing and uh, do some commentary on it, no? Uh, it shall make proposals to the National Assembly, and the National Assembly may enact a law to give effect to such proposals that the election and boundaries make, with such amendments and modifications as I just verbalized, as may seem appropriate to the National Assembly. So the National Assembly, instead of sitting down with the stuff in committee, they could speed up the process right now and act in the interest of timeliness. And that matter could be dealt with before the 90 days is up, when they have to go have the special election in PG. But they don't want to use it for that either. Then hope that they use the whole information to do the PG election, and then could slide in another candidate there, anybody basically, as for the gentleman we win yesterday, that the Prime Minister was actually trying to push, which is why we lost the previous area representative for that division, because of the big quarrel that they had over the fact that the Prime Minister want this same gentleman to take over the next man's position, and the time not up yet for the division change hand. Not to say the least that the man was being disrespected, because he has been winning elections over and over and over for so long and was never given a ministry. You got people like Mr. Mala, who just win one election the other day, and he have ministry within again $50 million one lick on top of the regular subventions and things they want to get to make him operate with. And Mr. Espat could not get that kind of privilege that conceded or accorded to him as the senior parliamentarian. Now when the man done dead now, they are getting at the house and pretend that, they so love their colleague, that their colleague was such a good and hard-working man, which he was.
Crocodile tears.
But they never give the man the respect that he deserved or had earned. Man, look, let me stop. Let me get back into this thing because I need to finish it quickly, no? Any redivision of electoral divisions effected in accordance with Section 90 of this Constitution shall, in respect of the election of members of the House of Representatives, come into operation at the next general election held after such redivisioning and not earlier, which means that if they don't finish the redivisioning and the reapportionment, they will have to go ahead and do another illegal election. And they'll have it like that, which is what they're playing the game about for, to end up with that as an outcome or as a result. And then if you sue them again in court, and the court tells them that they can't go ahead and have no election under the present circumstance because they are violating the Constitution so many times before, and therefore this is the time now for them to stop their violation and stop these scofflaws. And if the court, and if somebody goes to the Governor General and point out that the court had ruled that these jackals should abide by the law, it is then the rights and the prerogatives of the Governor General to not issue any writ of election under an unconstitutional status. And when in time run out, because I want to tell you, as a political strategist, I want to tell you how these jackals and think, okay? Then they figure between the lines that if they stall enough and this thing not work out properly, and the thing not get done, what will happen or what then think should happen, or what then the hope would happen is that the Governor General will just reappoint them for another period of time, maybe a 6 months or another year beyond the regular term, so that then could use that time to go and do what they could be doing right now before the next year and a half is up. Because we got at least about a year and a half almost to go. But then one buy then time and waste the front end time and hope that they could add another year or so and then turn around, do a batch stop job and have that extra time for work on the constituencies the way they want it to turn out. And by the time they call the election, because they can't get a writ from the Governor General until they make this exercise work, or they shouldn't be able to get a writ from the Governor General until this exercise is completed. They don't understand that the Governor General at that point, instead of reappoint them back as Prime Minister and ministers of the different departments so that they could take the other 6 months to a year to complete the thing, they don't understand that the Governor General have the powers to appoint anybody that she wants. Of course, she's their friend, so more likely than not, she might go ahead and appoint them if they ask her to make them be the one to carry it out. But under the proper procedures and protocols, the Governor General should see what they had done and have no trust or confidence in them, and therefore appoint independent individuals for 6 months or whatever period of time the Governor General thinks is necessary to have the revisioning process work out before a proper election is authorized. The Governor General have those powers under her purview currently. But as I indicated earlier, because she's their guy or their girl, more likely than not, she won't snub them like they snub the Constitution and snub she. Because when then they play the game, when they play, then they holler and pull she and they disrespect she too. Then they put she, then they back she in a corner and have her have to do things that normally she shouldn't have to do. But that's what happened when you deal with scoundrels and jackals. Okay? I yield back to you, Mr. Wade. But I
Thank
just wanted
you.
us to read these things from the Constitution so the Belizean people at home and abroad can hear what the Constitution is saying in regards to these scoundrels.
Thank you, Leonard.
You're welcome, sir.
My people, do you think, those who have interest in this country and those who Belizeans, those Belizeans that are still here and that is, seeing the ills and living the ills, do you think that this matter should even be something that should be in the courts?
No.
I mean, on a right thinking minded person. It's like the guys and they fight the constitution of this country. Right? Really and truly, that is what these guys are doing. They are fighting the constitution, the law, this land. They are fighting it all the way to the Supreme Court. Okay? And sadly, that I don't know how the court entertain them. I don't know how they work and how they do their thing, but in my personal view, that the court shouldn't even have been entertaining these guys. They should have just written another, do it. Not the waste the taxpayers' money. They come to the court again to fight not to do it. The court should already tell them, do it. And give them a mandate, give them a certain day to be completed. If not, they all go to jail.
Got to take money for job when they do.
Taxpayers' money, that's what I'm trying to say. Right?
And collect salary.
And as for the
fraudulently.
Governor General there, Leonard, 98% of Belizean people know how the Governor General is. We know how, as per protocol and as per the Constitution, and we know how and what the governor general should do, right?
Mm-hmm.
And who
Mm-hmm.
she should or him or her should be
Operate.
answered to. Who? But as for the system, the party bringing their own governor general. They scout around and scoop around and twist and find somebody who
Com-
are
com-
pleasing
compliant.
to the party, whether UDP party, got their own likes.
Compliant and
Man, we live it and
facilitators.
see it, and now we seeing it now, right? So, all I do, I beg them, to do the right thing, man, and they shouldn't be using the taxpayers' money over and over, fighting the same taxpayers, fighting the
Mm-hmm.
same people who then they getting money from for
Good night,
fight them.
gentlemen.
You understand what
Good
I'm
night.
Good
saying?
Good
night,
night, Greg.
gentlemen.
So good
Good night,
night,
Greg.
good night, Greg. Glad to have you. I yield back to you. I yield to you.
Greg.
It's a very interesting topic that you guys are on. I mean, this should have been dealt with years ago, but there's a continuous method by past and present government. And when you see governments do not want to adhere to the law of the land, which is the Constitution, there is something really and truly that they don't want to be unleashed to the public.
Mm-hmm.
No, I believe that we are having this problem because the redistricting will show how much the people is voting. You know, when election time, they're moving people around and around that don't live in certain neighborhoods. I'm quite sure there are more people in divisions that do not belong there, and I know my good cousin know exactly what I'm speaking about, as well as other people at home and abroad, because we have seen the method over and over again, you know. But this time around, hopefully, that they will hold themselves accountable as well as the individual who is the representation for the head of state. And if she cannot carry out her job, then I think we need to send a recall on her because we have barely been hearing anything from the governor general and all these madness that is going on.
Mm-hmm.
We have been never told when she's here or when she's not here, especially when you have acting signing and putting signature to things that she is supposed to do. I turn it back to you, Mr. Brackett.
Uh, I think last week I brought that topic up again about our Governor General who serves at the pleasure of the head of state, and that head of state is not Mr. Johnny Briseño. Our Governor Generals, in her absence, we have Mr. Briseño appointed subordinate. He is Secretary of the Cabinet, acting then in the capacity of the Governor General and signing stuff on behalf of Cabinet that the regular Governor General would not or should not want to take ownership of. So that if there's any blowback, they can always say, well, it was signed under the powers of the Governor General authorized by the Deputy Governor General, who, in the absence of the Governor General, has the ability to exercise that power. But it's all a sham. And I've been pointing it out over and over and over. How come every time that the Governor General is absent or unavailable for whatever reasons, which, like you just said, Greg, they don't tell us, they don't inform us, and the public should be informed when the Governor General is absent, when the deputy is taking over, the deputy is supposed to get a writ from the governor general as to what powers he may be able to exercise, because as deputy governor general, acting as the governor general, that individual doesn't have all the powers of the regular governor general. There are some powers reserved to the regular governor general that if and when that governor general come back, they can take over the powers of the governor general back from the deputy without the deputy's consent, because it is that governor general that has the power and the authority vested in her or him. But for we leaders and in the country, no one, the people learn, hear, or understand these things, because then like it's just like how they have it working. It serves their purpose to make bogus laws and sign on to bogus laws. All them past SOEs that was being written and put in place were being signed off without any accountability or without any validation and verification as to whether or not they're legitimately needed. Then not because the government decide, okay, well, the executive decide they want one SOE, that they should be afforded one SOE. They should have to convince the governor general that the governor general sees fit to assent to an SOE. But when the cabinet secretary, they function as governor general, they don't have no problem getting that done, because that cabinet secretary is serving at the pleasure of Mr. Prime Minister and not at the pleasure of the head of state, whose power he is then wielding and to whom he is accountable then. I wish people would start pay attention and start get serious, because I tell you no, not only just right now, I've told you in the past, I'm telling you right now, and I'll tell you again in the future. Unless that matter gets resolved, one of these days, we end up with a major constitutional crisis, okay? You take what I'm telling you, Belizeans, at home and abroad. It might not happen while I'm still alive, because who's to tell how long more I'm going to be alive? So it could happen soon. Or it could happen a long time after now. But that same controversy is not going away. And before it goes away, it's going to cause and create major catastrophic constitutional crisis in a free country. You know why I'm telling you this? Because these jackals are trying to change the constitution to where they can willy-nilly, arbitrarily and capriciously dismiss the head of state. And the only time that happened in our republics or other countries, when they physically, militarily overthrow the head of state or the president or whoever the head of the state is. These guys are setting that up to be the outcome. Most people apparently can't see that, not interested if you know that or understand that, despite the evidence and all the effort being expended to bring that outcome about. But I'll yield back again, Mr. Chairman. Greg?
Yes, thank you. As you see, I was kind of late. I'm very busy, but I was trying to piggyback on what you guys were saying. But again, you just have to look at the madness and what is happening. Because again, Mr. Wade, up in your area, look at what is happening up there, and there's no state of emergency.
Mr. Chairman?
Now imagine.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, go ahead, sir.
You just used one word just now, madness. And it aptly or correctly described our government's experience and the people's experience with this present government. Madness. Thank you very much, sir.
No, to answer to that, Mr. Brackett, as I was referring to Mr. Wade, now imagine there is no state of emergency out west. And believe me, as I have said before, three things that government pass and present is unable to do. And the major two, internal and external policy. Now imagine the place where people go to get help is in danger because of individuals and made doctors and patients feel threatened. Now, where is there not a state of emergency? Because to me, that is worse than Belize City. It is worse than Belize City, Mr. Wade. That is not even gangs going after gangs. Now, imagine, it's really outrageous, and I don't know what else to say, Mr. Wade.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Um, these guys, uh, uh, um, Mr. Chairman and Leonard, they are failing, right? And you know, sadly, they would never come to the nation and tell the truth. What is so hard to tell the truth? Um, it seems like it's a big task for them to tell the truth. People are suffering in this country, man, left, right, and center. But yet, as we notice, they portray to the nation and to the world that Belizean are living good, things is okay, and everything is dandy. Well, of course, they have to show some kind of action because of the help, the money, the aid they are getting on behalf of the Belizean people, right? They got to lie, they got to keep lying, because I'll tell you guys, these guys here are getting a hell of a lot of money in this country for the Belizean people, for their livelihood and for doing things for the nation and doing things for better off lives in this country. But is it happening? Just take for instance the other day, with all this blackout, all this the way how this man put everything so nicely and dandy that everything would be okay already, right? And get everything in place. And pretty soon there'll be no more blackout, because aid from this way and aid from that way and this to that project, and everything will streamline, and the BL will get over the amount of supply they need to give to the country. Did it happen? No. They come and they tell the nation, well, they fight so hard for get us the CT scan, right? And the amount of money and all the hypocrisy and all the lies that come with
Lies on top of
our
lies.
Belizean profiting,
Nope.
right? But that's to show to the world, to the world that, oh yes, this is what we are doing for our Belizean people, and yes, they have to be ashamed of themselves. 2024, we just the Kalhushna just to get one CT scan where of something to talk about, that not the right CT scan that the nation need. The good doctor came publicly and said, talk about the
Mm-hmm.
CT scan. Not from my mouth. What you hear from the Bernard guy and the Briseño, the prime minister of this country. How good of a CT scan. Money well spent. Right? You hear about the money from Kuwait for the state-of-the-art hospital that is built in Belmopan. You hear anything more about that? What you hear about is a hospital built in San Pedro where all the tourists go. But that hospital that nothing to do with the government of this country, nothing to do with it. But they take full compliments. They big up themselves and pat themselves on the back, right? That's just to show you, right? The things that these people do for publicity and just for, the world to see that or to hear. God, they not see. The world not see physically. The world not see the CT scan, right? And like I say, you know how much money that CT scan costs the taxpayers of this country? You know? Does the PUP government doing what they said they will do with the $91 million for the state-of-the-art hospital? Are they doing due diligence? No. Did I tell you anything more about that money? No. Did I tell you anything more about the healthcare crisis in this country? No. Because they already tell the world that everything is beautiful. We have the best healthcare system in this world, in this country, right? In this region, right? According to them, right? Which in fact, it's, you know, very poor healthcare, a public healthcare system in this country, very poor, right? And then when you go to the medical associate, which that's another situation how they came about, right? We'd have to ask Ralph Fonseca and Said Musa, right? How that hospital got built, right? But yet the Belizean people can't go there. The poor people can't, only certain elite could go to that hospital. Poor people can't go there because if you go there, you have to put up your house and lot or drain out your leave bank account along with your house and lot so you could get care at that hospital. You could sign over your documents to them, right? You don't hear about these things. Now you want to talk about these things, but it's a sad situation, man. And where are these guys' priority? These guys' priority is not about the poor people or making lives better for Belizean, right? It's not about that. Their priority, see, they are businessmen, then they do business. Right now, I think their priority right now is Portico,
Mm-hmm.
right? That is their hell bent on Portico. When people are punished, their priority is not about lower price of gasoline in this country. No. Their priority is not about the basic food items, which is skyrocketing on a weekly basis. That's not their priority. But yet, they say it is in theory and in speaking, yes, but in reality, it's not happening, right? Look at the problem we had up north. Look at the problem we have down south, right? Where are these people priority, man? But yet when election time, you see them, right? Well, I think right now they're gathering up their money. They're counting their money for election day. That is what they're doing right now. And sadly, this country, you have some people representing us from countries that do not respect the sovereignty and independence of this country.
Mm-hmm.
And they are with our very own tax dollars, and the Constitution careless state that shouldn't happen. Do these jackals care? Hell no, right? And we Belizean, we people at home, we just take it and we back. Somehow we bring forward, right? And give it to us every time. Take a little blessing and ride off in the sunset for the next 5 years. Repetitious cycle. So sad. Right? Mr. Prime Minister, ramen is 150 now, $1.50. That's the food that most poor people eat. $1.50. But you said everything is okay and you was going to control prices. So sad. Back to you, Mr. Chairman.
Great.
Mr. Wade will say, there is no intent to really ease the cost of living and the Belizean people because whilst you're speaking about the women, we are looking at the price of bread, the price of sugar, we are looking at other commodities, basic needs that these people need. You know, we listen to the Minister of Agriculture and the House speaking about the only way to solve the problem is to raise the price. I can say this as we speak here tonight, and I don't know if the people at home and abroad know. There is a law on the book for contraband coming across the border and going across the border. And they know it
Mm-hmm.
because the law was passed by the last administration during the COVID period.
But the ministers
Go
then
ahead,
violate it.
Mr. Brackett.
No, no, no. I was just saying that the ministers then violate those laws because they constantly bring contraband over and they not get searched.
You are right on that. But I'm specifying it to let
Mm-hmm.
the people know. When you hear they say they have to raise the price of sugar, that's the only way they will stop what is happening. That comes out of a comic book because there is a law right now on the
Mm-hmm.
book that can deal with that. And it's not coming from my mouth. This was passed back when we have the COVID measure. Let's listen to it.
What we're doing is to treat those that enable the border jumpers, that purchase the contraband items from the border jumpers, to be treated as themselves, having committed a crime, to be treated in the same way as the actual border jumpers would be treated. So if the police get a report or for any reason have to enter a shop or private premises and the householder or the shop owner has in plain sight Corona beer, for example, that householder or homeowner will be charged and treated as though he or she is himself or herself a border jumper.
Madam Speaker, I think we need to be very careful here because while the majority of citizens do not have any sympathy for border jumpers, the truth of the matter is we need to look out for the small man and woman in this country during this very difficult economic time.
I stop it there to say
Double talking.
the young learned Mr. Musa is not looking out for the people of Belize in this time. Because if they were, the sugar crossing the border would have stopped.
Mm-hmm.
People would have been fined. The same way that young man got shot up north, bringing across alleged contraband. If anybody remember that.
Mm-hmm.
So there are laws in place to deal with that. I go to you, Mr. Brackett.
The problem is that when Mr. Musa was in opposition, he was trying to castigate the then Prime Minister of the other party for trying to do what the Prime Minister thought he needed to do in order to put teeth in the existing law. He wanted to modify the existing law and make it tougher to intimidate people from not only just being the border jumpers themselves, but for those who support them. Here comes now Mr. And then at that time, Mr. Musa was saying, well, we have to look out for the small man. We can't let the Prime Minister make them the kind of onerous laws because they hurt the poor people and the small people. And as soon as they got elected, The man changed the tune. He start want to make laws and start empower the commissioner to go out and brutalize and do all manner of evil to people under his portfolio as Minister of Police and as a lawyer himself who's supposed to know the constitution of Belize and know that the things that he's empowering his police officers to go out there and do is contrary to good governance, constitutional requirements, and the dereliction of his job or the failure of him to do his job as the head of the police department. When he allowed his police commissioner and the commissioners underlings to go out there, grab people, kick them up, beat them down, whap them with baseball stick, you know, juke them in their guts, do all kind of thing with people, right? And it's all well done, as if they are empowered by the court to go out and render, you know, arrest, judgment, and execution of whatever penalties right there on the spot. And there are lawyers, okay? Because the police commissioner is also a lawyer. And then Mr. Young Musa will say, if the people in want to own up to the fact that they are being accused of committing crimes, then they have to prove their innocence. I got to stop, Mr. Chairman. I give up. I can't countenance even talking about these guys because I tell you the truth, man. It's disgusting.
In honesty,
It's just
they speak with double standards, especially the young Mr. Musa. That is nothing strange because they keep doing the same thing over and over with no change in sight. Mr. Wade,
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Well said there,
I
Leonard.
go to you as right.
Thank you. Thank you. You play that clip there, Mr. Chairman, remind me of the pin a belly that man had to close the borders. And he came publicly and he said the reason why he closed that border is because he was advised by some good friends of his. Now that's the people that had him to close the border, some good friends, right? Businessman. If the words businessman or good friend, either one, that's what he said, that he ended up to close the borders for when COVID. But anyway, you listen to that the other day. I listened to that guy, Jose Mai, right? The agriculture man. I don't even call these people honorable, because they are not in my book, right?
it's honorable.
So that man said, Mr. Chairman, that he went on to rumble about how sugar is being distributed across this country from BSI, and even as to how much they pay and this and that. And he even went on to say how he go to district. Well, I tell him, when that person that has the quota to buy from BSI that comes here in the West, from the time he not even reach into Cayo, there are pickups from across the border. Stop that truck and load it with the sugars that's supposed to come here for the people in the West. And it's not just happening. It's been happening in UDP days. And now you want to tell me, Mr. Mai, you can't get control of that. And that's why we have the shortage on the sugar here in the West.
And
Now again, you said that, there's no way the police could, man, the police, the mine, the big trucks them at the gate there when they cross the river. They're in Santa Familia. I have encountered several trucks loaded with sugar with the police, the mine. We're going to cross the river, Mr. Mai. And you will tell me that the police don't know anything about it and can't. Either they don't know and they can't do anything. What is wrong with you, Mr. Man? Who swallowed that venom? Who swallowed it? Right? I'm telling you, Mr. Man, on any given week you could come or send you operative and see what I'm talking about, man. That is what creating. You don't have to raise no damn price of sugar in this country, Mr. Man. What the hell is wrong with you? Right? Every time you turn around, something happen, or you do some kind of crap, or you want to penalize the poor people, right? To cover your stupidity, your government and you stupidity, right? And not doing the right thing. Mr. Man, the smuggling of our Belizean sugar across the border can be stopped. Can be stopped so that we could have enough sugar in this country so that you don't have to talk about raising the price of sugar, Mr. Man. What the hell is wrong with you? Right? People are tired of this. I for one, don't buy too much sugar, but a lot of our poor people, Belizean people, need it. And we always have shortage of sugar. And you're going to ramble, and especially in the house for the country and the world to see or to hear the stupidness you're talking about, right? And then you have some from the higher up encourage you.
Mr. Wade, if I may say
Go
this,
ahead, Mr. Chairman.
their agenda is to run the small businesses out of business. Because most small business, the bread and bun lady, the Frisco shop, and I can continue. Back to you, sir.
I think I shed a little light on how these people keep lying, keep on lying, and people should just, rumble this in and head and dissect it and say, oh yeah, man, the man right. The damn man is wrong, right? Whatever is happening in terms of sugar in this country should not be happening, man. I'm telling you what continuously, Leonard and Mr. Chairman, what continuously happen up here in the West. And I know it happens in the North too, because I was a law enforcement officer up in the North, and I know this thing has been going on for decades, okay? And it's so surprisingly that the people that are involved are some ministers and big people in this country who do the contraband. That's how they get rich in this country.
Mr. Wade?
By contraband.
Can I add something to what you just said just now? I'm going weird at the top.
And then the little man that is bringing a little tomato and a little Corona beer, like what that man talk about that past, that idiot too. He's an idiot, right? Then are the people that are being penalized, kill, shoot up. For the bring in the leaf vegetables, man. When we're in this country, I want to kill them people. Go ahead. I say no more. Go ahead.
Not for long. I just want to add one leap part. I wanted to say earlier when you said some of them are big people where authorize the import and export of these things unduly. Didn't the Prime Minister himself call up one of the custom agents at the border after his friend, the lady called.
The lady with the flowers.
Yes.
Truckload of
and then eventually
flowers.
Fire the young man because the young man never want to do or violate the law.
Exactly. See what I'm telling you?
That's how these people
See what I'm telling you?
Then the one with the truckload of sugar the other day, the police commissioner want to say that they know the fault of him officers there because anywhere where the BDF go, they know the BDF actually may stop the truck or process the truck. Everywhere where the BDF go, police officers have to be there. And the police officers know their job and they would not have allowed nothing to go contraband. So then who give the order to make them police officers they release the truck then? The other day when the young man made a do contraband, didn't the police officers then shoot up a pickup truck? How they never shoot up the big truck? Because money is being made and somebody they get the cut on the side. They don't give a hoot about the rest of the people when they get their sugar, or we have to turn around now and they get threatened by this idiot telling that here I have to raise the sugar in order to cut down on the contraband. That are more money they are make on the contraband. Or who fool in the talk to? But how dare he if he even contemplate the idea that that's not the solution of the problem supposed to
That's the
happen by
solution.
raising the price of the thing
Yes.
to all the people in the country. There's a bigger hustle. That means that they're not just hustle for the contraband, they want hustle for all the country now. Just like when they give the ESR, BSI, the contract for bringing the sugar, that the whole country had to buy that sugar at the twice as much price. And then guys know when they do. So it's willful. Willful. I call it
Mr.
criminal
Brackett,
contempt.
if I may,
Yes, sir.
Mr. Brackett, if I may, let me say this just to piggyback on what you were saying, right? I look at a social media post earlier today, and I saw on it that they are giving the Minister of Agriculture high praise because in 3 years he has raised the vegetable import and brought it to a surplus of 200 million plus. Now imagine.
Mm-hmm.
But when I see the post, the first thing came to mind, the type of publicizing that these people are doing. Because anybody who is a mad genius or knows a little about economics would think right away, but most naturally, since COVID, things have gotten expensive. So of course, the money will go up, you know? And then we look about the sugar that he say he needs to raise the price. I will tell you what they are doing, which is blatant disrespect to the Belizean people. If they raise the price of sugar, okay, the regular low class people will not be able to afford it. So of course more bags will be left on the shelf.
Mm-hmm.
They will use that as an excuse to say, well, you see, we have sugar, look how much bags is on the shelf. It's the people not buying it. To try to make it look as though they are doing more productive in the sugar industry. But that will not be so because again, BSI just love them.
People can't buy it though.
BSI just love
At the
them.
higher price, people can't buy it.
You know, I believe that they had made a concession just before election
Mm-hmm.
with ASRBSI, and this is the fallback from it. We will test the waters, you bring in imported, and let's see if the Belizean people purchase it. And if they do, we will raise the price. Capitalism at its best.
That's
That is
exactly what
what is
happened.
happening.
That's precisely what happened. It didn't happen by accident. It was by design. Like you say, we're living our designers
Right.
system, no?
But that is what they are trying to get rid of. You heard Mr. Marshall stated that DL should be open market, raise the price, lower the price so they want.
So
You
in other
heard the
words,
professor say it
Mr.
about the
Chairman,
sugar.
Mr. Chairman, in other words,
No, raise it
DL when they
and
hustle
free
money for the
flow it.
public, for the private
They
sector.
do not want to have no more control. Yes,
I was saying, in other words, then they empower DEL to enter into agreements with anybody who want to produce
that is
electricity.
exactly what will happen.
So they are
I'm looking at the
re-privatized back.
time,
Wait.
Mr.
I
Brackett.
want to get to a point. I want to get to a specific point. So then they put the pieces in place to
Right.
re-privatize DEL, and then at the end of the day, DEL when they end up they
Mr.
squeeze the
Wade,
people. They
I'm looking at
squeeze
the
the people
time
to
right
make money
now and
for
we're
the
close
Yes,
private
you
to
sector
have
that
two
price.
more
time.
minutes there, Mr. Chairman.
So with that said,
No,
Must be blackout. Anyway, it's
What he was saying though, he was looking at the time and what?
yeah, it's about time now. So you know,
Yeah.
we need to wrap up.
Okay. You go ahead and the last
It's sad to
question.
see what's going on in this country, man. And like I say, it's always a pleasure to be in your company, Mr. Chairman, and Leonard. And I just hope that we keep on educating the public, with the matters at hand, and the things that is happening in this country
We're
in a
trying.
whole.
We're
And
trying.
I hope and pray that whatever we put out there, Leonard and Mr. Chairman, is that the regular layman, right, gets some kind of benefit of it.
Amen.
Like we say, like we ask them to know their rights, right,
Mm.
Mr. Chairman, right? And like I was saying, it's always a pleasure to be in your company. I noticed you're gone there now. I'll in a little bit while
I,
ago. So welcome back.
I think they hit me just now.
Yeah,
The
something,
fire
yeah,
must have been too high.
yeah. And to our viewers and listeners, both at home and abroad, thanks again for always watching us, from wherever you are, and like I always say, some like us and some hate us, but to those who love us as to what we bring to the table, thank you. All right, and tune in to us on Wednesday night. We will have a very nice program, laid up, so thanks to our viewers beyond, at home and beyond. Thanks for choosing us, watching our
Thank you, Mr. Reed.
153rd edition of Belizean Affairs. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Leonard.
You're welcome,
Thank
sir.
you, Mr. Reed. And with that, we'll leave the people saying good night, having them remember that what we do here on Belizean Affair is for educational purpose as well as to enlighten the people at home and abroad what is
Yes, sir.
happening in the country. Go ahead, Mr. Brackett.
Thank you very much, sir. Um, I still insist in asking this question: where is the PCC and the educational campaign for the people to be ready to know their rights? Remember that first banner when I bring out?
No,
Know your
you're
rights.
right. I asked the same question to Leonard. Where are they after billion of our taxpayers' dollars? Where are they? A lot of money, spent on that, right, guys?
Sham and a sham.
Taxpayers' dollars.
All of that to try to change the constitution so they could run we into a republic. But
That's
anyhow,
their mission.
I yield back,
I
Mr. Chairman,
think,
to close out.
Mr. Wade, that question right there should be taken up on Wednesday if you don't mind, and
I
we
don't
can
mind at
go back
all. I
over a
don't mind at
review
all. Yes, very,
from
very
where we
important.
started. We need to go back
Yes.
and do a review on that
Oh,
from
yes.
when they started and come
Oh,
back
yes.
in time so the people can refresh
Thank you.
on what is going on. With
So
that said,
right
I
on
would
that.
like to say good night to the people at
Good night,
home
Mr. Chairman.
and
Good night, Mr.
abroad. And
Wade.
thank you for tuning in.
Breathe.